Welcome to GOLT Talk, your podcast for technology and innovation in the legal profession. If you're searching for solutions to revolutionize your legal practice, you're in the right place. 10 minutes pure, actionable product insights from CEOs shaping the future of legal technology. And here is your host, Tom Pfennig.
Welcome to GOLT Talk, your podcast for innovation and technology in the legal and compliance space. 10 plus minutes pure, actionable insights from leaders in the industry. My name is Tom, and today I am warmly welcoming Dr. Sven von Alemann, General Manager and General Counsel of LEDOX365, a software here in Germany. And greetings to Düsseldorf, Sven. Welcome to the GOLT Talk podcast.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you for having me. Looking forward to the talk.
Absolutely. Before we go into our questions, the first one is about you. Tell us a little bit about Sven von Alemann, a lawyer, an entrepreneur, a tech enthusiast, just to warm up a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, as you said, I'm a lawyer. I started as a normal lawyer in big law, advising in IT and technology law, and then I changed to in-house and had several in-house positions, senior legal counsel positions. And then after about 8 years of practicing, I changed into the legal tech world, and that was in 2016, and I founded a legal tech startup called Reference. We did a legal AI contract analysis platform. So we started back then using machine learning and NLP, and it was a first big legal AI bubble back then. So we did that for a couple of years, and then in 2020, end of 2020, we had to decide to stop operations there, and I changed to KPMG Law, where I advise big legal departments in legal operations. And then about 3 years ago, I changed and went over to Join and started managing LEDOX365 and acting as a general counsel for Join.
And Join is the parent company of LEDOX365.
Join is the parent company of LEDOX365. We are a CLM system that we distribute, sell, and develop. Yeah, and I'm based in Düsseldorf, father of 2 boys. Apart from tech, I also love doing sports and enjoying the nature outside.
Excellent. So let's dive right into our questions, as we always do. The first one is about the tool. You already mentioned it. It's a CLM tool. People in Germany are familiar with it, or beyond in the German-speaking countries, maybe outside not yet so much. So please tell us a little bit about the unique selling point of LEDOX365. It's a crowded space, as we all know, and the particular use cases that you are targeting with your platform.
Yeah, absolutely. 365 is a CLM and meta management solution. So you can say a legal suite kind of tackles all of the processes and documents for legal departments. Target market is legal departments. So on the one hand, I guess we're a classic CLM solution in which we kind of automate the whole contract lifecycle and digitalize the contract lifecycle. At the same time, we do the meta management module, which is more for legal departments themselves, where they can file their matters, have their correspondences and documents and so on. Whereas I would say the CLM is more for the whole organization, in which an organization can organize and automate and basically digitalize their contract lifecycle. As you said, it's a crowded space. We're not the only ones doing that. I would say our USP, one of our main USPs, is that we're deeply integrated into Microsoft 365. So we're using Microsoft 365 as a platform and integrate into the platform. We use its infrastructure, for example, its user management system, Entra ID, many of the applications and security governance features and so on. And we also use the Azure Cloud solution as a storage system. So it's a private cloud application. We don't host any data of our customers. The data remains in the customer's IT environment. And that's why when it comes to IT compliance and data security, the customers are, very open to that and have a lot of trust that the data just stays where it is right now. I just wanted to fill in also the second part of your question when it comes to use cases. As I said, one of the modules is more for legal departments themselves. The other module is basically for organizations with a legal department. Ideal customer profile, I would say, is large companies and middle companies, which are substantial size and the legal department. And for them, we can manage all of their processes, store their documents, and help them streamline their contract organization.
This is, I think, what most likely several CLMs would start their conversation with the client, yet the client wants to really hear about one killer application. In your case, you mentioned the implementation and integration as one differentiator in terms of contract templating, contract distribution, pre-sign governance. Is there anything that sticks out where you would say, hey, LEDOX365 is really ahead of the crowd?
I would say, yes, we really understand processes. I think we really cater for the processes that our customers need. We know what our customers need. We know large organizations like Merck, like Heidelberg Materials. We know Mittelstand organizations, and we know what they need. We know what they want to rely on, and we can bring these processes to the organization. So that's, I think, one big thing that stands out. The second one, I mentioned it, the integration into the Microsoft system, which also includes Word add-in, Outlook add-in, so the users basically of our customers can stay and can work where they are. They don't need to go into the CLM system, do some work there, and then come back. Many of the functionalities that you need from day-to-day contract review and contract management, you can really access from the Word add-ins and Outlook add-ins. So that's the second one, which is, I think, which is very important for our customers. And the last one is, what's also important for us is we integrate into the customer IT environment. So we not only into the Microsoft 365 applications and infrastructure, but also into other applications. So we have APIs to ERP systems, CRM systems, to e-signature. So I think it wouldn't make sense to create another data silo in the organization with their own management, their own files, and their own data. But we try to integrate and be kind of the common, basically, factor application to integrate in all of the other systems where data lies, where lists of customers are, of suppliers, and so on.
When you say we understand processes, which I think is a very, very bold statement and important, because it all starts with processes before you bring in the technology, I would argue. However, who is we? Is it an implementation team of LEDOX365 that comes into an organization and looks at the potential that is there and brings it into order? And that brings us to the second pair of questions already. Are you partnering with additional organizations?
Yes, I think it can be several situations, and also depends on the customer size. So we have different partners that we like to cooperate and work together with. So these are kind of advising partners, for example, Deloitte and PwC and KPMG Law, and this is legal design. And others. So we partner with them, especially when it's large organizations. It's helpful if we have a strong partner who can prepare the organizations and who can collect some of the very vital information that we need to customize the solution if needed. So yes, for large organizations, that can be the case that we partner with such advising companies. If the customer doesn't want that, or if the customer has not the size and budget to do that, of course, it's sometimes a question of budget. We have basically our knowledge that we have gained from our customers kind of engraved in our solutions. So we have standard best practices, standard processes that we can offer to our customers and say, well, that's from our experience, from our customers, from our years of experience, that's something that works at other customers. We suggest you at least take a look. And if they say, well, we think we need, 35 metadata fields, we can say, well, you can do that, but we would not recommend that because, and then we explain how it might work and what can deter users from using the system if it needs to put in too much information and so on. So second aspect is we have a lot of experience and have built it in our best practices in the product. And of course, we also partner with technology organizations and other networking partners. This means, well, the networking partners that is more for gaining knowledge, for bringing some knowledge into the market back and cooperate and so on. But also, of course, technology partners when it comes to e-signature, Microsoft, of course, but also AI companies, which we also use to have a deeper layer of AI functionalities in our solution. Also, we do offer an AI assistant, kind of as a general assistant on the one hand, and also built in several workflows and processes, for example, metadata extraction and so on. But when it comes to very much legal AI capabilities that were built in the last years based on the large language models, there are companies, of course, out there who are specialized in that, and we also integrate and partner with them to offer that to our customers.
Now, on the competitor side, Sven, who comes into play from your point of view?
I mean, there are different sorts of competitors. There are the very large international competitors when it comes to Icertis, Ironclad, Syrian, and so on, many more. And these come into play when we talk to large organizations, global operating organizations. And these are competitors who only really come to our customers when the threshold has a certain number. So these are one group of competitors which are in the German market, but not in every opportunity. But there are also a lot of German competitors, or DACH, I would say, German, Austria, Switzerland competitors. I could name, and I put both meta management and CLM now into one pot. So I could name Otris and Leecare and Wolters Kluwer and Pacta and others. But the list would be very long if I would try to name all, because the space is quite crowded. But I also have the strong opinion that for many of these companies, there is a matching customer. And I mean, I have the strong conviction or strong opinion that many of the customers would run our solution very well, and it would very much suit them. But it's okay if in some cases they need a certain other spin to that, and then maybe the others come into play.
Yes, and this is where we at Transforming Legal with our platform GOLT.ai try to really segment the market with our taxonomy, which you don't see because it runs behind our AI search algorithms, but also with the ICP definition from your point of view and from the user's point of view, which is so critical to match really the ends in an effective way. So I think you are really spot on. It's an ocean of solutions, and it's leading to some decision paralysis on the user side, because sometimes you don't see the forest for all the trees. So good also that we talked about this at the beginning, really bigger companies, SMEs, primarily also in the German, Austrian, Swiss market. And I think also with the process focus, some clarity that we deliver with this podcast already. So last pair of questions, and really appreciate the openness here, Sven, is implementation time and pricing. You choose which to start with.
Let me start with implementation time. It's not easy to answer because it depends, a very popular answer. But on what does it depend? It depends on, of course, the organization. How complex is it? How many customization requirements do they have? Do they want to use it more or less off the shelf, just with configurations? Or do they want to have a lot of APIs that maybe also to systems that we don't have APIs yet? Well, we have a standard process in this case, but still it's a process. Do they want to roll it out all in one? Do they want to roll it out in steps, maybe beginning with one department and then go other departments, go globally afterwards? So this is all something that depends. But to be a little bit more specific, because that really doesn't help answering the question, if I'm more specific, if you take an SME with maybe a small legal department, we can easily do it in 8 to 12 weeks, which I think is quite fast. And this is more or less a standard implementation with not a lot of customizations. So what we basically do, of course, we configure the system, and it's highly configurable on the specific needs of our customers. But this can be done pretty quickly. So this can be a really fast one. With complex and large organizations, sometimes it takes a year, but it doesn't take a year that our customers really start using it, but the global rollout maybe takes a year. After 3 or 4 months, There's a first rollout for a specific group, and then we kind of go on. Some of our large customers really want it that way. So it depends on the customer wishes, but we can do it pretty quickly, especially with smaller companies, also with companies who say we make a very specific decision to take an off-the-shelf product and benefit from our best practices, from LEDOX's best practices, and then implement it the way we recommend it. And that really is, and that of course makes it a lot faster.
In terms of the implementation times that you have shared, let's just go with a few weeks to a year plus. Would this include the process design also? So really getting an organization LEDOX365 ready, so to speak, or is it really just kind of getting the tech out, onboarding people, making sure that it's adopted and utilized, and of course you're feeding contracts into the system, or is it really all of the above?
It's also about the processes, because when it comes to, for example, approval workflows, so we make it possible for our customers to give us their approval policies, and then we build it into the system so that the approval workflow is kind of pulled from the policy and is then applied to the approval process. So that includes these aspects on approval processes, on other workflows, on what kind of metadata should there be? Should there be kind of dependencies? A dependency on if you enter this information, and then maybe you need to put in another information, and so on. So that's included in this time frame. It's not just the bare we give you a technical solution and then it's not ready yet. Yeah, this includes something that's ready to really be productive. Pricing is on in our cases dependent on users. So we have a user-based pricing. We have two user categories. We call them business user and power user. Power user are usually members of the legal department, so persons who have a kind of a content admin function, so they can decide on templates, which templates to use, placeholders and templates. They can decide on processes. I mentioned the approval policies before. So they have kind of admin rights, but not in a technical sense, but in the sense of content and on clauses and so on. And usually the power users are, depending on the size of the organization, a handful or maybe 1/100th of the business users. I mean, it's maybe a good estimation. And then we have the business users, all the rest of the organization, for example, other departments, and they can basically do everything they need, can do everything in the platform, from initiating contracts to running through the whole life cycle. And they also usually are contract owners for the contracts, because in many of the cases, legal doesn't want to be the owner of the company, so they can do everything. Of course, within these users, there are numerous rights and permissions that can be given. Of that's now doesn't need to be mentioned. Yes, and if you want to hear numbers as well, so the power user is basically 1,400 euros per user per year, and the business user is about a tenth of it. So it depends a little bit, of course, on modules that you also include with that, but it's about 1,400 for the power users and 140 or 120, depending on the modules, for the business user per year.
Excellent. Very, very insightful, Sven. I really appreciate you taking the time. It's a Friday afternoon. The more I'm really grateful for you being with us. Dr. Sven von Alemann, General Manager and General Counsel of LEDOX365, a CLM solution based here in Germany. Thank you very much for an insightful GOLT Talk, and I'm sure the audience learned a lot, and we are all wishing you well. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you very much, Tom.